welcome back to Crimson Glass on YouTube, and let's cross our fingers that my brand new light that just arrived on Friday doesn't break again. Yay! Alright, so this is part 9 of writing book 1 of Fool Me Twice, and this is me checking in after I have done the next step of my process, which is I have taken the alpha draft and I have formatted it into the beta draft. That means for me, I create a brand new folder in Scrivener that's labeled beta draft, and I create brand new chapter folders, and I copy and paste the scenes out of my alpha draft into my beta draft, making notes about what I need to change, what I need to update, just like general notes, not like really in-depth ones, just like things off the top of my head. Also notes where I'm like, I know that I'm putting the scene in here, but it's probably going to need to be rewritten. And then I also make space for new scenes and new chapters. So where am I after that process? When I started, I was at 33 chapters. I am now at 36, which feels weird because I'm pretty sure I had added 4 chapters, so I'm not really sure how that works. I'm gonna look it over. I think maybe I had. It's also possible I misnumbered my original alpha draft because I think Kim told me that I had a chapter numbering issue at some point. She's probably correct. Either way, it's about 36 chapters. I have 3 weeks to write, so I'm gonna do 12 chapters a week. And you're like probably thinking, 12? That's a lot. It is, but hear me out. The way this works is within the first 12 chapters there are 2 brand new chapters. It means at some point this week I have to write 2 brand new chapters. Not a big deal. I plan to write half of one tomorrow, which is, so today is Sunday, January 10th. I plan to write a half of one tomorrow and half of one on Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday I'll write a chapter. And then from Wednesday to Friday, I will get myself to the next brand new chapter that has to be written. And I'm pretty sure that's like chapter 5 or 6. And then once I'm at chapter 6, I'm good to go because I don't have a brand new chapter added for like 10, 15 chapters. Like the next 2 chapters that I'm adding are later on in the draft. So it's actually going to go faster because I'm actually not adding a super ton here. What I am adding is 2 chapters early on, a handful of scenes scattered here and there, and then 2 chapters later on. So that's actually pretty well out. And if I don't quite make that 12 this week, I can make it up next week because the amount of editing I'm doing next week is a little bit shorter. The amount of scenes that I am rewriting entirely, not that many. I'm actually pretty happy about that. And the big project I have to do at some point this week is sit down and look at all my flashbacks. Because now I have 36 chapters, I only have 14 flashbacks written, and some of them I think I'm actually going to take away, and I have to add a bunch. So, like, I have to kind of get that sorted by this weekend. And then I'm going to be finishing up that. So, like, it's not that I don't have a lot to write, it's that I actually do, but I'm not that worried about it, if that makes sense. While I was doing my beta draft writing, adding 4 chapters, I wasn't actually planning to add 4 chapters, but I found that I always knew I was probably going to need a new chapter somewhere in the first 10 chapters. I needed to space out and give Jason's return a little bit more breath, clean up the timeline, just give everybody another chance to react, and just clean up a couple of things that felt a little messy. And when I started rereading, I realized that the beginning wasn't quite nailing what I needed it to nail. So that didn't surprise me. And then later, I always knew that I kind of wanted to add just a little bit later. I didn't really anticipate 2 brand new chapters, but I'm actually really happy with the chapters that I added. I think it gives some of the storylines a little bit more time to breathe, and that adds in some Jason and Elizabeth stuff that I'm really happy that I'm going to be looking into. Storyline-wise, there's a couple of things that I do need to clean up and just straighten out. There's a Monica subplot that I didn't decide on doing until like chapter 19, so the first 18 chapters have to kind of get that sorted. And I apologize for eye contact. I'm using an iPad and the camera is, here, but my eyes are this is me making eye contact with myself in the camera, and that's how I used to do it when I did the webcam, and it throws me off not to do that. So I know that I'm not making eye contact 90% of the time. I'm working on it. So there's a Monica storyline, and then there's a Sam storyline, the Sam POV that I just did not understand until I was at the end of the story, and now I have to go back and re-edit that. And so, like, it also adds to the Jason storyline. I have to re-edit certain pieces of his POV. So, like, there's stuff there that I need to work out. But for the most part, it ended up being what I thought it was going to be. I'm doing a little bit of a more expansion, a little bit more breathing. It's the flashbacks that are probably going to drive me crazy. So as soon as I can figure out flashbacks, I'm going to make sure that I make it a key part of doing next week is getting those flashbacks done. Maybe writing them in, like, big spots. For the flashbacks, I'm really hoping that I can come up with 36 flashbacks. We will see. I'll check back in on how the flashbacks go. I love the flashbacks. I've had a lot of great feedback from my beta readers, from the Patreons. They love the flashbacks. It's a really great way to kind of reintroduce everything. But, I either have to cut and only have 18 flashbacks, which is not a bad option, because now I have 36 chapters and I had 14 flashbacks, but there are like 3 or 4 that I want to cut. But I know that there's a bunch of stuff I want to add with Faison and Britt, and I know you're thinking, but you rant about Britt all the time. I'm like, I know, and you don't use her effectively. I plan to use her effectively. There's stuff with Nicholas I want to add, and I think there's some stuff with Nicholas I might want to add. I mean, Lucky I might want to add too. And like, you guys are all like, none of these characters are people we like, and I'm like, you're right. And I think there's just like things here and there. I think I can figure out a way to make it 36. I think that I have to expand what I'm doing with. I have to think about why I'm doing the flashbacks. And it's mostly just because this is a soap opera, if we were telling this on the show, we would film these flashbacks and you would watch them. It saves us from having, like, characters talk to each other. And it's not that the characters aren't going to talk to each other about this information. But I think you guys will enjoy it more if you're actually reading this happen, and then another character refers to it later. Like, we learn about something that happens to Elizabeth on Spoon Island, and then you actually have a flashback of her going through it. And I can't remember which order it comes in, but like, I just feel like it makes it resonate more if you are with Elizabeth when she's telling that experience. If that makes sense. All right. So that is where we are this week with Fool Me Twice. We are moving right along. I have finished the beta draft reconstruction. I am later than I wanted to be, but again, this is January 10th, so you live in the world. You know what just happened this week. The fact that I got this far is pretty good. I will check back in next week to let you know how the first 12 chapters went. Let's hope it's 12 chapters done. All right, I will see you guys next week. Bye.